Yo guys, Theo here on Common Sense. It's story time. Today I'm gonna tell you about the depression I went through this year, how I dealt with it, and what I've learned from it. So strap yourselves in, boys and girls. This might be a long one. I haven't prepared anything, I don't have any cliff notes. Of course, even when I have that, I mostly talk from the top of my head, but this time around I don't want anything. I'm a little stressed that I'll miss a few points I wanna make, but I want it to be as natural as possible and just talk from the bottom of my heart. So if it gets a little lengthy and all over the place, that's just how things are gonna have to be. So where to start? Okay, so at the start of this year, I finally started my own business, going full time into doing my own thing with online coaching. And this is what, ever since I started this Uncommon Sense thing, this is the goal I've been working towards the entire time. Like, I didn't know what it would look like exactly when it came to it, but I knew when I managed to do this great change for myself, on the inside, the inner work too, the spiritual and mental health aspect of it all, but also with the training, fasting, nutrition, all this shit, I knew I've done such an amazing change for myself, and I want nothing more than to be able to do that for other people, so I have to find a way to make this my profession. But I didn't quite know what it would look like back then, but this was what is culminated in me going full-time with my online business, and I'm so excited when it starts out because I've been working in a gym, which I like. I like the gym, the colleagues, the members, my clients, but it's still, and I like training people, but it's still not entirely my own thing, right? I'm still selling like the gym chains, PT packages for certain times, and maybe you have to do things a certain way in the gym, and you can't get as involved. You definitely can get into trouble if you give too much controversial advice, say about fasting, for instance, and it's not really, you don't really get the opportunity to do more with your clients than just the actual training stuff. You can't get involved with their mental health and talk about their life and their relationships and all that shit. And I knew, of course, that when I went into all of this, it's not just I want to get jacked, I want to learn how to train. I love the training, it's a lot of fun training people too, but I knew there's so many different other components to it, right? So finally I'm able to do this with people on my own terms. I have no boss, I make the rules, I make the product, I'm the product. I get to decide exactly what it looks like. So I'm very excited about this. At the start of the year, like many times, it just occurs to me that shit, I really am my own boss. I am, I have my client calls and stuff like that, and I have to be available to answer and stuff. But I, for the most part, control my time. I can go train whenever I want. I work whenever I want, etc. It's really cool. But then it hits me, the loneliness that I think a lot of people experienced back when lockdowns were happening, because that's something I never got to experience while we had some restrictions and stuff in Sweden, the gyms didn't actually close down. So I was always working and around people when a lot of people started working from home. So it just hits me, that even if I'm in the gym for a couple of hours a day, and I have some video calls, and I meet some friends in the evening, I still feel so very isolated when the majority of my day is taking place in this tiny little apartment, with also remember, it's the middle of the Swedish winter. It's very dark and cold outside, and you feel so confined to your little cage. That's what it feels like in that setting, because now, look at the weather, I can just go outside and have this available very close to me. Not something that's you really want to do in the winter. So more and more, I start to feel very, very isolated. And the thing is, I enter a lower and lower state. My dopamine just starts tanking, that I have no motivation and excitement for anything really. And it freaks me out because I haven't felt this way in a long while. And I'm also like, this is not how it's supposed to be. I'm finally doing this that I've dreamt of. I'm realizing it's not supposed to be this way. So it becomes this double negative, right? Where when you don't feel good, and you spend a lot of energy on just obsessing and beating yourself over. Why? You shouldn't feel this way. Aren't you supposed to feel good now? What's going on? And I become very withdrawn, which is huge red flag for my state, because I'm naturally an extreme extrovert. I did on a live stream, I went through a personality test that I did, and in the extroversion area, I got that if I'm in a room with 100 people, I'm the most extroverted there. So when I feel withdrawn and like social interaction is too much, then things are off, right? And I feel very lonely and isolated. It becomes this very paradoxical thing, that I feel lonely and isolated, but at the same time, the thought of interacting with people, I want to say no to almost everything, and it doesn't make sense. I feel lonely, but when presented with an opportunity to not be lonely, many times I don't feel like it. So the problem I get to is that, yeah, like I say, it's gonna have to be a little all over the place, but making videos like right now, for instance, and in a high state, that's not something I have to do, or I have to come up with something and then I have to record the video. It's literally, I come up with something without even trying, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys that I can't wait to get to the camera, and many times I just have to do the one take, and just preach about this thing. I'm so excited for you to hear. You need to know this, And in the lower state, it's the opposite. All my drive and inspiration, because my motivation and inspiration, I have no dopamine. Nothing excites me. So I'm like, what should I talk about? I don't even know. And when I come up with something, I tend to, in the lower state, have to focus on the more technical things, Think like this around the training. Oh, if you fast like this, and leave the more like spiritual and motivational stuff, because that's literally, I don't have access to it in that state. But even when I know something to talk about, I don't feel like I do. I don't have this clarity and just this, that it just comes out, I have to think so much, and I am like, am I even fucking making sense? I have to restart the video 50 times before I get it out. And I feel shame, I feel, I'm gonna come to it. I know it's not true, but I feel like I'm letting you guys down in that state. And I can't show myself like this because it's something that has been ingrained in me since a kid, having grown up with an autistic brother, right? That there are people that have it worse than you. You are supposed to be above the pain, You are supposed to be the inspiration. Also now, because what I've been through, the change I've done in my life, you're not the one that's supposed to be down and feel low like that. You're the one that's supposed to be the inspiration for people that do it like, that feel like that, right? So I feel like I'm failing. I'm letting you down. I can't show myself like this, And I know, of course, really, now that I'm in a higher state again, that's not true. In fact, it probably makes me more relatable if I show you that I can struggle too, right? That I don't present myself as a superhuman who is just immune to pain. That would make you feel like, how can it be like that? I can never be like that, because it's true. No one can be like that. And yeah, guys, I'm sorry for not talking about it more while it's going on, but it's very, very, very difficult for me, both in the sense that I feel like I can't show up like this. I feel so weird when I'm in certain states. I will just smile and laugh and joke naturally. I'm not trying to come up with jokes, and all of a sudden I'm just stone faced and I can't smile, barely can't smile. And the times I do, I feel like a fraud because I'm not really. And it's like this, But of course, yeah. So what I'm saying is, as you can see, I have a very easy time being vulnerable, displaying vulnerability and telling you about my struggles after the fact. But it's one of the things I've learned in this, from this, that it will be even more helpful if I can show you while it's going on how I deal with the process right then. So it's a promise from me that in the future, when this happens again, because it will, I will take you through. I will be there during the actual process to show you what's going on. But okay, so I have this very, very low dopamine state, no excitement, no motivation. I am not a morning person, but I have good sleep routines and stuff, so I wake up early. I'm just a little slow at the start of the day mostly. But now, the start of the day is dreadful. I don't want to get out of bed. I often sleep 10 hours, which I never can in a high state, Just says something about my level of exhaustion, right? And it's the part of the day I look forward to the most, being in the bed. And all the energy I have, I use to be there for the clients that I do have, and my training, because that's the thing. even in such a low state, when I'm not excited about the training, I'm not motivated, but I know if I lose this is my foundation, if I lose the training, start eating crap, start drinking, start neglecting my sleep, then I've lost it for real. Now I'm at least holding on to that, And so it becomes this toxic circle when I feel like I have all the fucking time in the world now. Why? A lot of people would be excited to be in my spot. I should be excited to be in the spot. Why? I'm being lazy. Why do I have all this time and not able to do videos and all this shit, I should be able to. And this is the thing. I went through this for a long time, okay? So a lot of the time, it was just a repeat of this, the negative inner thoughts telling me all this shit. And in the lower states, you tend to just see what you don't have, and you can't see what you do have. So I'm feeling like I'm lacking this. I don't have a community around me, I don't have a tribe. Like, it's the beautiful thing with it, the isolation and stuff, it happens because of this modern lifestyle. There's even a possibility to work from a computer from home, but it's also beautiful that I've connected with some people that aren't in my immediate area, that are like-minded, But I feel like the lack of the tribe and people around me. And, I have, some time ago, I had this experience with a girl that I met, and we had this amazing connection, and I thought that was it. But then things took a pretty terrible turn with all of that. And look, when I was in a higher state, I had dealt with that for the most part. I had accepted things as they were, kind of. But, heartache, it takes, to get over it fully, takes a very long time. And you might not, the last part you might not get over until you're actually in a new relationship, right? So when I am in this lower state, this creeps up on me again too, right? Like, because even though, okay, the way things turned out there, it wasn't any wrongdoing in the sense that there was some kind of betrayal, like cheating or something. It was just that she had unprocessed trauma of her own that made her unable to function properly in a relationship. And this was, even though there wasn't any betrayal or cheating or something like that, this was immensely painful for me. And I was left with a lot of questions, didn't get much clarity. And so in this state, when I have nothing, the only thing that it's available to me is ruminating over all the things I feel is lacking and I am missing, Of course, this kept creeping up, that I just wish I heard from her, and even though it wouldn't work out, I could at least, clear out one of the things I'm ruminating over now. But okay, I finally start having to accept that, okay, it isn't me being lazy, because I think about how am I in the higher state, and it is like this, I don't have to try to not be lazy to record videos. It just happens. I am productive in a higher state. It will happen. And so I finally realize that you can't pour from an empty cup, right? No matter how much I'm beating, I should be able to pour. If there's nothing in there, I can't pour. And what is the most productive thing I can do in that spot, right? Well, you guessed it. It's filling up the cup. Just doing whatever I need to do to feel good. And, a lot of that is just what seems like stupid downtime procrastinating activities, Watching a bunch of YouTube, playing video games, scrolling on the phone, all that kind of shit, But, and of course, if you live your life like that always, which I don't, that's no good. But that's what I had to keep telling myself, that look, in this state, this is the right thing to do. Just make sure, take care of the essentials, your health, your physical health, the clients you have, then it's cool. If it's, getting the new clients and putting out the new videos, if you chill a bit with that, that's cool. And this is something, I have to be so stoic, because I don't feel it. Even when I talk to myself this way, it's not what I feel as if I'm lazy, and it's my fault that I'm in this situation, I should be able to do more, etc., etc. It's what me and a friend call terrible awareness. When you know deep down how things really are, it's just impossible to get to experience it. And sometimes you get stuck in that, right? Because I drew thought exercises like that in this spot, because I know that in the lower state, it's it's very difficult to see the things that you do have and you focus on the things that you don't have. So I mechanically, I tell myself that because you have amazing, great health, you have all this knowledge and capability that a lot of people don't have. You really, you feel as if time is just passing by and you don't get much, but this is a fraction of your entire life, this is necessary. A feeling like this, it's because you can feel bad that you can feel good. There's something to learn here. This is necessary to go through. Even when I consciously think these thoughts, I can't feel it. And you can get stuck at sometimes. The thing you can get stuck at is, but now I fucking know these things. Why don't I feel better? And then you keep hammering on yourself and you're back in that ruminating loop then. And I realized this is the best. This is, we're talking about your low state game. This is the best. It's the nature of the state that you're not going to feel excitement and not going to feel like you have anything really. And the best you can accomplish in a state like that is knowing that, okay, things aren't necessarily the way I feel, but I'm just going to have to feel it right now. So that's the first thing, just letting go and accepting it. It's a gradual process, And then I start talking. It was difficult for me to talk for the same reasons I tell you it's difficult for me to make videos and talk about it while it's going on. It's difficult for me to talk to friends because I feel like I'm not supposed to be like this. But the other part is it's so unclear. It's a mess in my head. It's hard to articulate even when I try. But so I start sending these voice messages. I talk to people in real life too, but like I said, some of my closest friends are far away, and that's how we communicate. But I start when I feel like an idiot, like I'm just rambling, I don't fucking know what I'm saying, But doing this over and over, of course, I can get some more objective inputs and some concrete advice on my situation. And I also get reminders when I talk to friends, and they like truly express love and appreciation for me, and also point out like, yeah, that's such a great point you're making, because it reveals to me that, yeah, I am still worthy of love in this, even in this state, and I am still capable, even though it might be true that I have more to give in a higher state. Apparently, I can come up with and say things to people that they think are very, very insightful and all that. So this helps me a lot, And then I try to take steps to get out of this withdrawn isolation state. And this is a tough one, because, sometimes when you feel withdrawn, it's because you don't have any energy to give. So being in a situation where you have to try to give energy in a social interaction literally drains you. But sometimes that's just the anticipation. You think you're going to feel that way. Like, for instance, I was going to meet up with this buddy of mine, DK, tjänare kingen om du kollar. God morgon i denna sal. Yeah, my buddy that I like, we decided we're gonna meet, but on the morning, I don't feel like it at all. And it's nothing personal at all. Like I say, I like him. It's personal that I even consider doing it, right, in this state. But, I do it. I do it anyway. And of course, I am a little low, and I feel ashamed again. I feel like I'm not showing up fully in the social interaction. But as we hang out, and I talk about this stuff too, but everything, it kind of goes away. So, it's a difficult balance in that state when you're so withdrawn that, of course, you can't just be isolated forever, especially if you're not happy with isolation, but sometimes you just don't have energy to give. But you have to try. You have to try still to making these little efforts to come out of it. And so I do these things, it's the inner game, just working on reframing the situation, accepting things for as they are, talking to my friends, opening up, getting some, validation from them, some love and support and actual advice on things I can do, And I take these steps to come out of it by, actually, when it doesn't happen naturally, that I'm just surrounded by people working in a gym every day, I have to take steps to actually make that happen to some extent. And then I start doing, the bulk is over, and I start doing my fasts. And the fasts, like I've said before, they can't just cure your depression on their own, but they will bring perspective. When especially I'm going around with all these abstract worries and fears in my head. And then when you just remove food for a few days, it just changes your perspective. It's just a little more difficult to think about it like, oh, I feel lonely, I haven't eaten for days, I don't care. But it can't cure it. So what kind of ends up happening that with every fast, I feel a lot better. I actually enter a high state towards the end of the fast, and then it kind of goes back down, but it's still slightly higher than it was before, right? And this is the circle that repeats itself. I elevate my state with a fast, kind of drops down again, I elevate it, and while I do all the other things, right? And so this is, yeah, you know, it's very hard because it's not all of a sudden, now it's gone, you know. But throughout this process, I really entered a high state again. I'm excited about the things I do again. I have a very different outlook on my life situation, and yeah, I don't feel lonely. And so I want to talk a bit about what I've learned through this experience. It's very much this, you know, that you can't pour from an empty cup, that it's okay to feel bad, you know, and to not be able to give everything, you know. You should, this is something, of course, working on your, I've called it this with a friend again, C game, your what you can do in the lowest state. That's, of course, you want to raise, in Sweden we say höja sin lägsta nivå. You want to raise your lowest level, but it's still going to be the lowest level, right? So, you know, that everything is so state dependent. You are literally blind to certain aspects, like the ways I am capable and good and all that, you know. I can't experience it in a low state. I can't factually know it. Like, yeah, I've made good results with the training. Yeah, I turned my life around, blah, blah, but I don't feel it, you know. And that's what I've learned too. Because it can feel so like, but why don't I feel it if I understand it, you know? But that's just something to accept. And the funny thing is, it's an attract, don't chase thing. If you do manage to accept that, that's what's kind of gonna make you, you know, come out of the low state for a little bit. Of course, when you're going through a long-term depression like that, it's not gonna be from day to day that it changes, but you see, you can do a little slight elevation there, come out of it. And it's these, over time again, that will take you out of it in the end. And yeah, the second thing I've learned is definitely that I should try to share these things. You know, use my terrible awareness that in the state that, you know, I feel a lot of shame. I feel like I'm not allowed to be like this. That I shouldn't show myself to people like this, but just know the truth within me that no, actually you're doing people a huge favor by displaying that kind of vulnerability, you know, and showing people, not just showing the highs, you know, showing the lows too, taking people through the entire process. It's really something. I really, you know, I'm not sorry, I don't feel bad, I don't have a bad conscience, like, oh, I've been hiding this from you guys, you know, but I say I'm sorry because I want to do better in the future still. This is really, yeah, guys. I mean, of course, it can be helpful that I talk about it after the fact too, but I think, you know, actually showing, look at me right now, you know, I'm in a low state, I'm sorry. I don't, this is me right now, you know, and yeah, well, I've rambled for a bit. Let me go pause it and see if there's anything more I want to add. No, I guess I have actually talked about most of the things I wanted to talk about. No, but I've really learned, I think I've reached another, you know, level of accepting that life has its ups and downs and that you will be a lower state, and just know that just because you feel worse in that state, it hasn't really changed anything about reality. This is the thing that was so difficult to understand in the state again, even though I keep repeating the words for myself, but I just don't feel it, you know. And then when I come out of the lower state, you know, nothing about, yeah, except that it's summer and nicer outside, but nothing about my life situation has really changed, you know. It's just the way I look at and feel about it. And so I think I've like leveled up my stoicism for the future, that I will be able to detach, you know, not detach, of course you have to feel the pain, it's very important. So that's something, you know, when I was in the sun, I was just sitting and pondering the way I feel and going over it again and again. But what is it called? Not caterpillar, ladybug. It kind of distracted me. No, a new level of accepting for that, and also remember that, you know, while it's again, I remember when I had gone through a difficult period last year, and I made a similar video, but I was screaming at the camera much more. But that the way you look at things in the lower state, you're gonna feel so differently, because I felt like I've not been doing enough. I'm lazy. I'm not doing enough, you know. But when you look at it, you know, Yes, I have done less than I would have done in a high state, but I've been there for my clients. They have all been very happy, you know, and I've kept putting out videos, just not as frequently, and in my opinion, maybe they're not quite as good, you know. And you know, the way I think about it in the state is that, and I keep it up with my physical health and the training and good diet and all this shit, you know. I have not only kept it up, I made fucking great progress. I mean, amazing progress I made in this low state, you know. So it's always, it's such a reward coming out of the lower state and being able to see, not only being able to deep down behind the hurt and pain know how things are, but actually get to experience it, you know. And this is, I guess, the final lesson that I haven't learned this time, but that I would like to tell you is, again, the importance of taking care of your physical health, because that's, you know, I haven't been full on depressed, you know. It's just that, what should I call it in the title, you know, because there has been some kind of little glimpse of meaning and you know, things I want to do and all that, but yeah, that it's because I take care of when my spirit, you know, when Theo, the spirit that inhibits this vessel, this body and mind, you know, when the spirit is down, if the vessel, the machine here, is working properly, you've done yourself a great service. Like, just imagine feeling this way and also being in terrible physical shape, you know. And that's why it's so important. And that's why this is the message I want to give you. I always get surprised when I hear people, like new clients I talk to, like, yeah, I know how much better I was feeling when I was eating better and training, but yeah, I just kind of lost it and I'm depressed these days, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, I'm not talking down to that kind of person, but to me, it's like, but how could you give up on that? You know, you saw what difference this made for you. Like, how can you give up on that? And that's why I will never do it. I will never let go of this. It's a promise. It's a promise I'm never gonna have to eat, you know. I might change my priorities in how I train or something, but I will never just start eating junk food, start drinking a bunch again, start neglecting sleep, stop training. Never. Because that was carried me through this, and actually, you know, now high state Theo can say to low state Theo, hey, you did a fucking great job, you did your best, and the things you thought were lazy were just you recharging your batteries and you proving yourself to, now that I'm back here, now when high state Theo is you know, here, it's proven, because you're not doing anything lazy at all. You're using this high state energy to be productive. So yeah, even though, again, you might not feel it while you have experienced a depression like this, having elevated your physical state, your physical health, will just make you so much more capable. Because again, I was very depressed and I feel withdrawn, but I don't get panic around people. I just feel like I really don't want to. But I don't get panic. Nowhere close the panic attacks that I had before I started all of this, right? So even though it feels terrible in the moment, comparing it when I'm out of it, it's like, it wasn't actually as terrible as it could have been. And that was a reminder through the whole time too. I felt so much worse because of the before this. This is still better. I'm grateful that I'm not there. And I also know, again, everything exists by contrast. It's because I feel bad that I can feel good. There's something to learn here. And coming out of this, I'm gonna have reached a new level of understanding, and I will have leveled up, and I have. So I hope I got in everything. I hope it wasn't too rambly. I hope you could learn and take something with you from this. Yeah, I hope so. I'm gonna probably, on Instagram, the format is so limited. When I started making a post about depression, I could definitely not fit in everything I wanted. So I'm gonna go more into the specifics of everything. I probably do similar things with shorter YouTube videos, but here's a little confession in a way, and a promise that I've now leveled up. And the next time life hits me in the face, like it will, you know, the next time Satan tempts me, the next time, you know, life challenges me, I will take you with me and show you how I deal with it as it goes on, not just after the fact. So please, guys, leave a comment. Is there anything you can relate to here, or are you suffering depression right now? Tell me about your situation. You know, if you haven't seen, I often I respond to like every comment I get if I don't miss it. Sometimes YouTube is weird with notifications, but I take my time, and I will, as long as this channel is so short, so small that you know, I will still want to, even if it grew, I would want to reply to comments as much as I can. But right now, I really can. You know, if you tell me a good story, interesting story, or ask interesting questions, I will respond. You know, so please, and please like. All comments and likes help support the channel, so it's very much appreciated. Please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, losing weight, building muscle, health, physical, mental, and spiritual. Yeah, all that kind of cool shit, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go enjoy the sun some more. See you later. Peace.